happy regional tournament week, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the CJ Howard Sports Talk Show. We're live in my apartment in Hampton, Kentucky, as we get set for another episode of the CJ Howard Show. I'm CJ Howard. You can watch us live on YouTube, on the D&D Sports Network, on my Facebook page, on my sports page, and other ways you can. You also can give us a phone call if you want to. We ain't had a phone call in a long time. 1-502-849-9320. We've got a great guest list. It's about brackets. It's about busting bubbles. It's tournament time. So if we want something busted, I need this guy to be my co-host because he's always busting stuff, and he's always going to he's going to bring excitement wherever he comes. But let's get to our guest list. We're going to be joined here in about 10 minutes by Kenny G from the 12th Region Sports Network. We're going to get down, break them 12th Region brackets down. Is Danville Christian, are they the favorite? Is there a sneaky favorite in there? Who is the girls' favorite over there? Then we're going to talk with Thomas Rainey. Thomas is usually a guest, is one of my co-hosts that I use. Tonight he's going to be a guest, and we're going to break down the 15th Region brackets. We're going to talk about the tournament being moved to Pike Central, how that's going to affect play for the other teams. Then we're going to talk with John Henson about the brutal 13th Region that everybody's been talking about. We got the draw. If you ain't saw it, then you can get all you want here tonight. And then we're going to either be joined by Armando and Mackenzie, or Mackenzie, because Armando did say if something happened, he wouldn't be here. Mackenzie would be here, or we may have both, and that'll happen at 9:30. My co-host, you know him well. He likes to stir chaos wherever he goes. He is the main man at WSGS, and you can hear him starting tomorrow night, and when the girls' 14th Region basketball tournament will be at Memorial Gym. My good friend, Mr. Nate Little. Nathan, welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me, CJ. You won't hear me tomorrow night, though. I will be. I think it's John and Rodney, the Leslie Cruz, heading over for the first round of the girls. I don't know when I'll make my appearance, but I'm sure it won't be long. Ready for a long week, but I got to be in Leslie County tomorrow night. I've got my little girls playing volleyball at WB Muncie, so I'll have to be over there. Long week, but we're hanging in there.
A lot going on, and a lot going to happen. We saw all the brackets, Nate, and was there any brackets that really caught your attention?
I'll be completely honest with you, CJ. I'll be because I don't want to lead anyone astray. Back in the day when I was at WYMT and I was producing Game of the Week and I was voting in the Mountain Top 10, I was all over Eastern Kentucky sports. But now with WSGS, and we got 8 teams. We got Leslie, Perry, Hazard, Buckhorn, boys and girls. And when you got home games for 8 teams to cover on the radio, I don't really have time to enjoy a ton of 13th Region, 15th Region, 16th, 12 like I used to. So I'm locked in on the 14th. And typically we see some teams here and there. They'll come over to the WYMT. Hazard went to Clay County, Perry went to Bell County. They intermingle a little bit. The girls, the Class 2A tournament, there's some 15th, 14th bleed over into that. So and 13th too. So I think I've got a pretty good idea, but I've not even looked at the other brackets yet. But I'll tell you what, that 14th Region bracket, Perry Breathitt boys in the first round, Hazard not boys in the first round. Those are 2 huge games.
Yeah,
that is all set up because Jenkins takes down Not Central, and that means somebody a loser had to play Not Central in the first round.
Yep.
And Hazard beats Perry, and Perry's a good team. Perry's a good team, but Hazard has just, had everyone's number across the state this year. They've lost one game in the Danville Christian's the only game they've lost in the lost in the state of Kentucky. So it's been that kind of year for them. As far as on the girls' side, I think the girls Perry Breathitt matchup is pretty cool because Breathitt's playing well right now, and Perry's also down a player because of the little the fight that happened at the end of the first.
Now, if Perry can win tomorrow night, she would be back for the semifinal game against Knox County, or if Knox County wins tomorrow night.
Possibly Knox County. We don't know that. If you played the games on paper, they're going to, it's going to be Knox County in the second
But
round.
I'm just saying she will be back. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, she would be back for the semifinals. She'd be back for the semifinals, Brooke and Cornet. And that was, just one of those situations, CJ. And you know what? And look, this has, I hope my Leslie faithful, John Knowles got my back. I love you guys. I do think, and this is something that I would like to talk about, because with, a second to go in the game, there's a fight, and a Leslie County player and a Perry County player are ejected, but it's an elimination game. So the Leslie player will be suspended 2 games and the Perry player suspended 2 games. And it seems like that's a pretty fair way to do it. Yeah. But if it's in an elimination game, it feels like it's not weighted the same in that, because you got someone sitting out district championship, first round of region, and then you got another team sitting out a couple games. I don't want to say meaningless games, but those games at the start of the season, they don't, you know what I mean? They don't mean as much as playoff games do. And I don't think, and I'm not trying, and like I said, CJ already said coming into this that I wreak havoc everywhere I go. This isn't, I'm not trying to just delete it right now out of your mind. I'm not trying to insinuate that there was anything happened other than 2 girls at the end of a really emotionally charged game acted like high school kids, and they had a high school kid moment. You know what I mean? Well,
if the official would have blown his whistle and called a foul.
Hey, CJ's the one saying that, right? But I think that's
the point I'm making is they wouldn't have. If they call the foul, they don't act like high school kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things, a lot of moving pieces to that. I think maybe the referees thought, hey, we only got a few seconds left. We blow this foul right now, we're going to have to stay here for another minute or 2 shooting free throws, or we can just not do anything and then the game's over. But in those 2 seconds, that's all it took.
To get something to go, that's all it takes. I mean, you listen. The kids these days are programmed to where if you set them off, they're gonna act like kids, and they're gonna do kid things like you said, and that would have happened if they were just simply called the foul when the girl grabbed her with foul. That should have been the end of it. But
yeah. But like I said, I don't want to act like anything that happened was other than just kids acting like kids.
Yeah.
But I do think that if the precedent is, if there is a kid out there that does have bad intentions, that they're like, you know what, we're losing this game, our season's over with. Why don't I just throw a punch right now and start a fight, and then these other kids, now they're going to get suspended if they fight back,
But you're smart. You should be smart enough to realize don't let them antagonize you to do that.
So here, you've always got the choice to not fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I'm advocating now that if you get thrown out of a playoff game, that your suspension has to be for playoff games. So instead of sitting out the first 2 games of the season next year, and this doesn't count for this one because you can't make up rules after the fact. This girl's going to sit out her 2 games start of the season and that's it. But moving forward, like if you get in a situation like that, you're ejected during a playoff game, I think that you should set out playoff games the next year instead. If you're, if you're not a senior, I think that would discourage it even more than it's already discouraged.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk basketball. All right, with me now, Kenny G from the 12th Region Network. And Kenny, welcome back. These were, I'll tell you what, when I saw the brackets, intrigued. Some matchups here. Got some teams that's really playing better here the past month since I last talked to you.
Yeah.
Two come to mind. Rockcastle, Lady Rockets have really been playing much better the past month. And I've noticed that Wayne County's picked it up some. They're starting to play better on the girls' side. On the boys' side, is there a challenger to Danville Christian? I'm looking. If it's going to be, it will have to probably be either Pulaski or Mercer. Somebody like that.
Yeah.
But let's break these brackets down.
Yeah, I'm ready. Whatever. Listen, it's going to be an exciting 12th Region tournament. The 12th Region tournament is always one of the best tournaments in the state of Kentucky as far as region tournaments goes. And, obviously DCA is favored on both sides of it, but don't be surprised if there's not some teams that are going to push them to their limits. DCA boys have shown some vulnerability here lately. They get beat. I can't remember. Boyle puts them on the ropes there at the end of the season. The DCA girls barely beat Boyle, 4-point game in the district championship. So there's a lot of things that could happen here. The one thing on the girls' side, man, the bottom half of the bracket is absolutely loaded. It's 4 of the top 5 teams in the region for the most part are in the bottom part of the girls' bracket.
I love Southwestern. I've said that all year. The reason why I like them, because they're 18-11, but they played a NCAA schedule. And they played everybody that's been good, everybody that's been thinks they're good.
Yeah.
And they're going to play West Jessamine, who's probably a lot of people thought maybe is the favorite on the girls' side. They've been the top. They've been the top RPI all year long.
Yeah,
you get them two in the opening game on Tuesday night. That has to bring fireworks, especially with this tournament this year is at Pulaski County. So, talk about I'm with you. The bottom bracket is loaded. I think Rock can come out of the top.
Yeah. So now Rock's going to have a good chance. They played Boyle earlier this year. And they won that game. But listen, Coach Brian Britt is a phenomenal coach. He's going to come up with a good game plan. Rock will have to play good behind Taylor King and Macy Spivey. Those two will have to play some good basketball. Wayne's playing some of the best basketball of any girls team in the region. They've got Mercer.
And look who found his way back to the regional tournament.
Yeah.
He leaves South to come back to Mercer, and what's he do? He's right back in the thick of things.
Yeah, and he's got a very young team, very, very young team.
They remind me of a lot of the first team he had that were really, really good, but they were young. They didn't know what they were doing, and then they won 3 straight state titles.
Yeah,
so that's what type of team he has again.
Yeah, so I mean, the most unfortunate thing is you get West Jessamine and Southwestern in the first round. West Jessamine has been the number 2. They were the number 1 team for the most part until Grayson Boogwell got back from her ACL injury with DCA. Southwestern's been the number 3 team, 4 team right in that area. And those two, guys, both those teams could beat a DCA, but they're matching up in the first round. West Jessamine has Claire Marshall, which is she's a sophomore and she's done 1,000-point score, got 1,000 rebounds. One of the best players in the state of Kentucky that more people should talk about. West Jessamine's went through a lot of stuff. They've lost 2 starters this year. One, their starting point guard to an ACL injury, and then their second leading scorer got in a car wreck, and they lost those. And they still continue to find a way to win. Man, that first round matchup is a region championship game any other year. On the girls' side.
Yeah, I saw that on the lineup. That was what first caught my eye. It caught when Rock was up there when Rock was in the top bracket, and I saw that the Southwestern, Southwest, Pulaski were all down there with Danville, I was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to be beat up, and maybe Rock has a shot to.
Wayne just beat Southwestern in the girls' 48th district championship.
Yeah.
So if that flip flops, it's a whole different scenario. That's why winning your district is important, man. You got to, and Southwestern did not play good, did not look good. But I'll tell you this, very rarely will a junior Moden coach team play 2 bad games in a row. Yeah. Very rarely. And these two coaches know each other really well, really, really well. And they played earlier this year that went into overtime, and West won by 1. So I would expect this to be a dog fight of a game.
Okay, now let's go to the boys' side. Then I'm gonna let Nathan get his questions in. I think he's looking at brackets right now, so he'll be up to date. The boys is loaded. Everybody's Daniel Christian is locked to go. But now listen, these are all experienced teams. Now the records tell me that they're I'm looking at 18-12, 13-13, 17-9, 15-13. There's going to be a shocker, I think, happen in this boys tournament. Where it's going to come from, we don't know, but I think there's going to be one because I can just feel it. It's coming, and I think we're going to have a shocker in pretty much all 4 regions. I think somebody's going to win a game that has no business winning.
Yeah,
and right here's a good example of where that could happen.
Yeah. So let me ask you, who was the team that put DCA out last year? Do you remember? Somerset.
Somerset, yeah.
Who does DCA have the first round?
Somerset.
So, listen, Somerset is the second tallest team in the region.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about DCA, and what do they have that nobody else has? They have 2 7-footers, a great point guard. Somerset is a team that can physically match up with DCA. Now, here's what the key is how do the refs call it? Do they call it tight? Do they let them play?
And I think your officiating crew is coming from the 11th region.
No, it's 8th or 9th, I think.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was
I'm not for sure. To be honest with you, I don't keep up with that stuff. I just show up.
I know a lot of people worry about that because different regions call different ways, and if you got a game, Nathan's already saw Daniel Christian because they played Hazard in the All-A semifinals.
Yeah.
So he knows what kind of team they've got. This is a good basketball team, and Somerset is very capable of, like you said, doing it 2 straight years in a row to them.
Yeah. I mean, listen, guys, the DCA is a great team. They got this zone where they play, and they've got so much length that they can create turnovers. But here's what I'll tell you about the 12th region tournament. It doesn't matter who the favorite team is. It doesn't matter. In the last year, Pulaski wasn't the favorite team going into the tournament. They won it. The year before that, Lincoln was the favorite, but Pulaski beat them. The year before that, Pulaski was the favorite. Lincoln beat them. Very rarely does the favorite win the 12th region boys side of the tournament. A team that you need to watch out for is West Jessamine. Steve Adams, former Bull coach, been to a Final Four. They've got all the pieces, and they're going to play a Southwestern team that, as another team that has length and tall. Antoine Dunford, kind of like a point forward, plays like LeBron James. If he's attacking downhill and they're making shots, they're tough to beat. Mercer, Trevor Ellis, the 12th region player of the year. 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds. He's the all-time leading rebounder at Mercer County, and he's the second leading scorer, only behind Trayvon Faulkner, who went on to Northern Kentucky and then is playing overseas. And then Lincoln Pulaski. Those guys have met every year in the region, it seems like, for a while now. Lincoln didn't make the region last year, but the 2 years before that, they put each other out. So that's an interesting. And the tournament is held at Lincoln County. So Lincoln County don't lose too many times in their home gym.
No, they don't.
No.
All right, Nathan, you got some questions for Kenny?
No, I mean, I I'm listening to get an education on the 12th region right now.
Yeah.
But like I said, I've only seen that Danville Christian team out of the 12th this year because I stay busy with 54th District, 14th Region Radio.
Yeah.
And we don't get not a ton of 12th Region, 14th Region action anymore. But I do think when I saw Danville Christian play, the length, I mean, and the way that they played Hazard, they played Hazard with this kind of defense. It was like a 2-1-2,
It's a hybrid zone.
I've not seen that stuff since I was it's been a while. It's been a while, and they would and Hazard usually is really good about being able to get the ball inside. Harder to do that against the zone, but Hazard could typically shoot you out of it. But you had these 2 7-footers just coming out and putting a hand up and swatting 3-point shots and just absolutely wreaking havoc. And I think Danville Christian is built for a big run. You never know what's going to happen. But just watching that team, I feel like they are built to give a lot of teams across the state trouble.
Yes. I think they're one of the only teams, like if they win the 12th, I think they can win a couple games in the state tournament. I'm not so sure that anybody else can, just to be honest with you. But here's the one thing I can tell you about, like when DCA played Hazard hadn't played nobody like that. The first time you see DCA, you struggle. Here's the thing about the 12th region teams. Somerset's seen them once. Pulaski's seen them once. Lincoln's seen them. All these teams have already seen them or played against them. And you guys know how it is. When you play a team one time, okay, the second time you're more prepared because you can watch all the film you want. But until you get in there in the battle, on the court, that's where really adjustments and really good scouting happens, is watching it in person. So are they the favorite? Yes, they are. Could they get upset? Don't be surprised, because here's another thing: DCA's not won it. They've never won the 12th region. They've made it to a semifinal, but they've never been in a 12th region championship game. It's hard. There's a lot of pressure there, especially when you're supposed to win it. So all these other teams, they're playing on house money, and that's dangerous.
Yeah, it's understand Jordan Bingham. So yeah, go ahead, Nathan.
Yeah, I didn't realize that they've never won it, which adds another layer of which just adds another layer into it, because what a lot of people don't realize is that in a regional tournament, it's all win or go home, and you have to put together 3 back-to-back games, where if you're not playing, you can't really get away with being off for 2 games. You may be able to survive 1 game, you don't play your best, but it's really hard. And, with high school kids, you just never know. You just never know what's going to happen. And what could, what things could creep into kids' minds and throw off their shooting for a night, or you just don't know. You just don't know. So,
in the last year in the region tournament, DCA played Wayne County, and that come down to a last-second shot in overtime. DCA barely slips by, right? So they go in the semifinal and they play Somerset. DCA's up 9 with 40-some seconds to go, or 7 or something like that. They missed 2 they're up 7, I think it was. They missed 2 free throws with under a minute to go. Somerset makes a run and gets fouled on a 3-pointer as time expires, basically. They get 2 out of 3. It goes into overtime. Somerset holds the ball and gets the last shot and wins. So, it was I think it was a 2 or 3 overtime game, actually. But and I think you will see that a lot in the 12th region too. People will hold the basketball and dribble it out for 4 or 5 minutes. If you have to come out and play defense in the 12th region. There's no I know people argue for a shot clock and stuff like that, but I'm one of those people that say, hey, there's an offense and a defense side. You can't pick it. The defense got to play defense too. So anybody can step back in his zone.
Yeah, I think the people that argue about the shot clock, which I've actually went through some games and just the games that people will complain about, you need a shot clock, and a lot of it comes down to, well, there's a couple situations at the end of a quarter where a team held it for like a minute, but for the most part, over the course of a game, that doesn't happen a lot.
No.
You know, it's usually, you know, they get the shot they want and they go for it, but it takes a really good ball handling team to hold the ball. I don't know if people understand how hard it is to just hold the ball while being pressured for a minute. Like, people don't understand that, because it is not easy. It is not easy. And if a really bad team, let them try to do that. Like a team that's not really good, let them try to hold the ball for a minute. They can't do it. If someone comes up and pressures you and continues to do that for over the course of, you know, a minute or more, I mean, it's on you at that point. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's on the defense if you're letting them hold it for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, you take DCA; they're so tall and they're long. Even on the girls' side, I think Bull County held it for like 4 minutes the other day. For 4 minutes. Well, here's the thing though: they just set out and dribbled. DCA refused to come out of their zone, girls' side. So Coach Britt just said, "Hey, dribble it," and he dribbled it for like 4 minutes at the top of the key. And people were like, "Well, man, you need a shot clock. Need a shot clock." Well, so why shouldn't the other team play defense? You know, why?
What was the score? What was the score? Tie game?
Yeah, it was like a 2-point game at that point. And here's the thing:
if you've got a lead and they're not going to come out and guard you, I mean, I would. But
Boyle was a huge underdog.
Oh, so, yeah, I mean,
you're playing the clock there. If it's a 2-point game, why not just dribble it out until, you know, because the chances
they make you do something else. Until they make you do something else.
Because the chances are, if you play up and down, you know, you're going to end up losing. But Boyle ends up losing that game by 4 at the end. And then they held the ball a lot in the first half. But, you know, at some point, you got to play defense too. That's part of the game. You know, I coach third graders. And the first thing I tell them all day long is defense. Defense wins championships. And you got to be able to do both. You got to be able to play defense. You got to play offense. But defense always comes first, in my opinion. So my teams are going to play defense. If you can't play defense, you can't be on the floor for me.
One more question, and I'll let you go, Kenny.
Okay.
I'm going to put you in the spot a bit. Who do you think will come out? Who you think is going to win the 12th region, boys and girls?
Man,
I'll give you my picks when you give yours.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I originally picked DCA for the sweep, boys and girls, early in the year. And I'll be honest with you, I've been so busy, I've not really broke it down to where I want to be at right now.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me if DCA don't win both of them. I think they're the heavy favorites. It's so unpredictable. That's the thing about this. You're going to be wrong regardless. It's so unpredictable. Teams that I think can win it: Mercer boys. Mercer boys could have a chance at it. I think DCA boys. You never can count out Pulaski, man. Yeah. So I'm not. I don't feel comfortable picking anything right now because I'll be honest with you. I don't know, CJ. I want to say I'm smart enough because I'm a 12th region expert to say, hey, this is who's going to win. But the reality of it is, man, like if DCA wasn't in this region, it would be the best, most unpredictable region in the state of Kentucky. That's how much parity it is. Now, are they good compared to other teams in the state? No. But within themselves, it's an absolutely, like, you just do not know what's going to happen. But if you put me on the spot and I had to bet my house on it, I'm saying DCA boys and girls probably.
Okay, I'm going to girls. I'm going to go. I think the winner comes out of the bottom bracket.
Obviously, yeah.
I do like Rockcastle though. I do think. Yeah. I do think she's got probably one of her better teams she's had in quite a long time there. I think they're going to be in the championship game. I really do.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think it's going to be them, and I'm going to go with the horse that I've seen all year long at the top of the page. That's the West Jessamine. I think it's going to be Rockcastle County West Jessamine final. I think that listen. I think West Jessamine they found a way all year long to win without their best two players. I think they're going to find a way to win this tournament on the girls' side.
Yeah.
I think if they, especially if they beat Southwestern, I think they win I think they'll beat DC because I think they're going to have all the confidence in the world going into that game. On the boys' side, I'm gonna go a Pulaski DC final. I think Pulaski County is playing the best basketball besides DC right now. My question is, you said that they had such hard luck the past 2 or 3 years. I think DC will find a way to win this tournament, but they're going to have to earn it. So I'm going to go West Jessamine for the girls, and I'm going to go DC for the boys. The only reason I'm not taking the DC girls, I just think that bottom bracket's too brutal. Brutal to come out. I mean, you got 4 teams that any year can win it easy.
Yeah, and DCA does have Louisville Cardinal commit Grayson Bugwa. So, but I don't think she's all the way healthy. I really don't. But anyway, no, it's going to be, like I said, I'm running on fumes right now between all the other different things I've got going on. But I'll definitely be there every night.
You better get your fumes. You better get you some Red Bull or whatever gets you going because you've got a lot of basketball to cover between now and next Tuesday. And then, of course, going to referendum and stuff is there's some good baskball in the 12th region. Kitty, thank you so very much for coming back.
Thank you guys for having me, man. I always enjoy it.
Always. The girls' tournament's at Pulaski County.
Yep.
The boys' tournament is at Pulaski County. The girls is at Pulaski. The boys is at Lincoln, if you're wondering, and you're in the 12th region. And then, of course, if you want any information about 12th region basketball, go to the 12th region sports network on Facebook. And I think they've also got an Instagram page. You have an Instagram page too?
Yeah, we got Twitter and Instagram, and a pretty selfless plug here, man. 2.2 million views on Facebook the last 28 days. So super happy about that. We're growing and just show if you do things the right way, it all works out, man.
And exactly right. That's what Nathan always tells me. All right, Kitty, thank you so much for being with us. You've done a great job giving us that 12th region breakdown, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a great one.
Thank you. Kitty G from the 12th Region Network as he breaks down that 12th region. Let me tell you what, Nate, he was right on the money. But, you've seen Danville Christian. Do you think they can win the 12th?
I think they can. Yeah. I think they can. I don't know as much about the girls. The girls, Daniel Christian, they were in the All-A too, if I remember right, and I watched them.
They won the All-A. They won the All-A girls.
Yeah, they didn't seem as intimidating to me, even though they won it. You know what I mean? But just looking at Daniel Christian, the length that they had on the boys' side, felt like I was watching something special. But maybe like Kenny was saying, it may have been like one of those deals where it's the first time you see them, it's going to give you a hard time. But once you've got them on tape and you can see what you did wrong and ways to improve, maybe I don't know, maybe they're not the world beaters I think they are, but I was really impressed with them when I saw them. I saw 2 games of them at the All-A in Owensboro, and they look great both times.
Yeah, well, listen, he was right about one thing. If they do get out of the 12th, I think they can win a couple of games and go deep in the boys' Sweet 16 because that height they've got and that guard play they got, it can pay off in the long run. And I always look at teams that are we don't pay as much attention to the 12th as we do the 13, 14, 15 because that's where our basketball comes from. And we talk all the time about there's some really great basketball over in that 12th region. You just got to know where you're going to spot it out, and we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be an interesting tournament over there. Now joining me is another man that I like to see every once in a while. He has been extremely busy. That's why you've not seen him co-hosting with me lately because he's been he's got 9 million arms in the fire and probably 10 more thousand he's going on the other side. Thomas Rainey with me from the D&D Sports Network. Of course, Thomas is busy, just not with the D&D, but he's doing so much other stuff on the side. Thomas, good to have you with us.
Hey, good to be here, CJ. Let's ready to talk some basketball.
Okay, let's first of all talk about the venue change and how. Well, let's first of all talk about the second year of the Super Regional. I'm even hearing more great things now that you guys, the second year, as they've made some adjustments, and I love the adjustments they made.
Well,
I love it. It's so much better. It was so much better this year. I mean, it's going to get to a point I think everybody's going to try it.
well, listen, I love it. I mean, because the object is to put the best teams in the tournament, right?
Mm-hmm.
This gives everybody. So many times you see that team get upset in the first round of the district, and you go, "Wow, if they was in the tournament, they could have won it." Well, guess what? This gives them kind of like in golf, what is a mulligan, right? You get a second chance. So, you know, it's a great job. And, you know, and you see the weaker districts, and I'm not going to name them, but people know who they are in the 15th. The weaker districts don't have two teams in it, you know, so it really for me, it does what it accomplishes and has the best 8 teams in it. Now, there was an upset on the boys' side. Even in the playing game, there was an upset. So, you know, but hey, you had your
a lot of people with Howell Johnson Central, and they didn't even get in the tournament.
That's what I'm saying. Lawrence County went in there and snuck in and pulled that one out. I was kind of, you know, I'm a huge Chandler Thompson fan. I tell everybody, in my opinion, and I catch heat over this all the time, he's the best coach in the 15th region. But, you know, then you got the Tommy McKenzie's and all these guys. But, you know, they've had stars, you know, and I'm not knocking any of the players from Lawrence County. That's not what I mean. But if I ask you who started for Lawrence County the last 2 years, you would struggle to tell me that guy. You know what I'm saying? He just takes a group of kids that buys into his system, and he coaches the daylights out of them.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but last year the 15th region representative was McGoffin County.
Yeah.
And they would have been the third. They would have not made it to the region. They weren't were they a district semifinalist?
They were a semifinalist.
They were?
But,
okay.
But they had to win a game on Saturday to move on. I guess that was the difference. They had the unlucky draw.
Okay.
So the way it's set up, for those that don't know, if you're runner up in the district, you host a game in the playing games. And then for 2 of them, you have a chance. No, you have to host a game. So it's been a lot of fun. I really like it. And we got some great matchups set up. And we've got the equipment set up. And now you want to talk about change of venue, right, CJ?
Change of venue is going to be huge, because them boys have been used to playing in the arena for the last 6, 7, 8 years now. You're going back to a high school gym for an environment that, I'm going to tell you what, is much different from playing in the arena to playing in a high school gymnasium. Nathan and me know this, because the 14th region is played in high school gymnasiums. And if you get the right mix of crowd in there, and you get the right basketball going playing, you're going to have some of the most magical games that you've ever had. You won't have those in the arena because, well, you'll have a few of those, but you won't have them because I think in an atmosphere where they're in their school gym, it brings the kids they're more of a factor than they are in the arena.
Now, CJ, I'm going to be controversial, okay?
You're going to be controversial.
Go ahead.
You're going to say it's the worst place to have it.
Horrible.
Exactly. I mean, that's not controversial. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Horrible.
It's terrible. I mean, I get it. If we were selling, 10,000 tickets or whatever, and we were selling the expo out, I do think it's cool that you can look up and you can see all the old schools and stuff. That's great. That's cool to me. But the fact, I mean, come on. I mean, if you're all it is it, and it's more expensive. It's more expensive. If I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, because I dealt with this when I was at WYMT. If you want to broadcast anything video from the expo, you're going to pay out your rear end because they have these rights to it. Are the 15th region teams going to be able to work it out to the media outlets can stream it?
We can stream it. We've already went up, set the equipment up. We still have to pay that enormous fee. I mean,
to the expo or
no, to the 15th region. But That's the toughest thing. It's a lot easier to broadcast from the arena. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of space. You can put cameras down on the floor, so the production will not be to what people's used to seeing. Because we have 4 or 5 cameras and different crews and all kinds of stuff. It's going to be a little tougher, but give me that high school gym any day of the week, CJ. Put it in there. Let them be hanging from the rafters, packed house. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see 1,500 people in the gym and the place feels empty. Yeah. It's just not. I mean, it's great for a concert. I've been to many concerts there, but it's not. It's not a good basketball arena. It's not.
Yeah. And Pike Central. Listen, I'm a big fan of Pike Central's gymnasium. I'm glad they're playing there because that's a great venue. I mean. It reminds me a lot of playing at sort of playing at like at Powell, or if he's in the 14th, or playing a little bit like Purdy. But that was the perfect venue for this tournament. And you now that the 8 teams have been chosen, the boys is a little more give than the girls. I think Martin County's favorite on the boys' side. We'll go there first because I want to.
Yeah. I mean, if Martin County's If Martin County's hitting, man, oh man, they're tough to beat. We covered the 57th district championship game. They hit 8 threes in the first quarter, I think it was, CJ. I mean, they were just on fire. If they're shooting the ball like that, I can't remember if it's the semis or the championship game. I shouldn't say that. They're tough. I mean, they are. Now,
I think the 3 teams over, I think I love Paintsville, but can they stay consistent enough can they stay consistent enough? I mean, they haven't shown me all year they can stay consistent. They'll play 2 or 3 really good games, and then they'll take a break. And you can't do that, especially with the team they got. They have very few seniors on this team. They're loaded with big people. They're probably one of the most the strongest teams in this tournament. And I mean, they play a Pike Central team that's got, I think, the best player in the 15th region.
Jaden Stewart's a player. I'm not going to take anything away from him. I give him. I mean, him and Parker Watts are my 2 favorites. For our player of the year. I know Jaden won the coaches vote, but I really think he's a ball player. But you go to Paintsville under the old system, Paintsville wouldn't even have been in.
Nope.
Because they got beat out in the first round by Martin County.
Yeah, the old system, you would have had no Paintsville, and Floyd Central wouldn't have got in.
Nope.
And that who was the other? There was one more team wouldn't have got in under the old system. No, I think they're not on the girls' side. But, on the girls' side. But you see what that second chance tournament did. It got 2 teams in that just said, okay, we're going to take advantage of this. And that's why I think these other regions are going to eventually do this, because I think they're going to eventually say, hey, I like this. I'll get a second chance. I ain't going to screw it. I'm going to screw it up this time. But I like the adjustments that they made. You had the 2 play-in games with the 4 worst teams, and then left that was out of the batch, and then you took the final 8 teams and you made them all play yesterday to earn their spot to get in for 4 of them to get into the tournament, and that was awesome, and I love it.
People say, "Oh, I don't understand it." Well, think of it just like the NCAA. Mm-hmm. The district tournaments now become your conference tournament. Yep. If you win your conference tournament, you get the automatic bid into. It's the same setup.
Soon as that team lost Monday night, they were playing a play-in game on Wednesday night. And I loved it. It's awesome. Let's look at the brackets real quick. Okay, we're gonna go boys and we'll go girls. We got right off the bat, doozy of a game. Probably going to be the highest scoring game in the first round. You got Pike Central and Paintsville. These 2 are. I think the upper bracket is the toughest, no question, without even a doubt. Yeah. But I think these 2 games Wednesday night Saturday could break barriers and points, because they make these 2. They may score all day long, all 4 of these teams, but especially his first game, Pike Central on their home floor against Paintsville. Listen, this is going to be some great basketball.
You want me to pick it?
Yes, you go ahead. Yeah.
This is the game of the first round here. I think Pike Central at home is just too tough. But I'm going to say this: I'll go with Pike Central, but it wouldn't surprise me for Paintsville to upset. They're that good.
Now you got Pikeville, Lawrence County. Listen, you talked about Lawrence County. You talked about Pikeville. I just don't see a reason Pikeville doesn't get to the semis.
I'm going to go with Lawrence in the upset. I really think they match up well with Pikeville, and I live in Pikeville now, so I can hear all the chirping going on. They're going to be calling me a traitor. But, Shelby Valley gave them all they wanted in the 59th District Championship game. We covered that one too. So I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go Lawrence with the upset because I think Pikeville would be the favorite.
We really don't need to focus much on the bottom because I think Martin County's going to get to the finals. But I think Floyd Central's listen, I seen them play. Prairie Central played them a couple weeks ago. Prairie Central beat them pretty bad, but that wasn't the Floyd Central team I'm used to seeing. I know they're a much better team than they played that night.
Well, Floyd
played awfully well.
The problem with Floyd Central, you talk about injuries. Their point guard Spriggs has been out. My goodness, almost the whole year. He'll come back, play a couple games, then be out again, come back, play a couple games. With them healthy, that's a team that has no seniors.
Yeah.
So they're whatever they do this year is getting them ready for next year.
And also,
I like Betsy Lane in that one. My son graduated from Floyd Central, so I'm going to be hated there too. But I just think right now Betsy Lane's playing really good basketball.
I think Nathan will enjoy this one. I thought there was only one Lucas Howard in the whole world. No, because there's two. Because Lucas Howard, 8th grader, plays for Floyd Central.
I bet there's more than two.
Well, there's probably more than that. But people don't know that that's my name.
Oh, okay.
Clarence Lucas Howard Jr. And I told Coach that, and I said, Coach, he's got the same name as I. Well, that can't be happening. I said, we can't have the same name.
Just a second before we get any further. Okay, so where does the J come from?
Junior. My dad was Clarence Howard. I was Clarence Jr.
Oh, okay.
Wait. So you're Clarence Howard Jr., but the J comes before Howard?
I couldn't spell my name in 3rd grade, so I just started calling myself CJ.
Okay. Everybody called you Clarence Jr., so you went by CJ.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a wild one. Siege.
The mystery has been let out of the bag.
There we go.
I assume that I've seen CJ Lucas Howard, but I thought you were one of these cats with 4 different names. Clarence Jefferson,
a lot of people will know where I got
Clarence
Lucas
Jefferson
from.
Lucas Howard.
Yeah.
My dad named me after the rifleman. The gunfighter, the rifleman.
Oh, okay.
That's where I got my middle name from. So yeah.
I got you.
All right, now let's get to the girls' side. But one other thing on the boys, and then we'll go to the girls. We should get a Martin County Pike Central final, right?
Yeah. If I had to draw it out, that's where I would have it. But
that's what I'm thinking too. I think Pike Central on their home floor. It's going to be awfully tough for the.
I don't think any of those games are guaranteed, though, CJ.
Oh God, yeah, you're 100%.
I've said it. There's a whole lot of parity. I don't think there's anybody that's just going to run away with it. If there is anybody, it's Martin County. We talk about
the 12th. We talk about the 14th. We talk about the 15th. Like, okay, we have to really break these brackets down because these are 3 different tournaments with 3 different styles of basketball. But we can't do that about the 13th because they're a whole different element by themselves.
Yeah.
Never in my lifetime have I ever heard of a tournament that all 8 teams win. And we're going to talk with John Henson when here in a little bit about the 13th region because more people. I've never heard so many people be more intrigued about a tournament than in that 13th region, boys and girls. And I was intrigued with the 15th because I thought there's a lot of good basketball there. And the reason I'm more intrigued with this year because they're back in the school.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see them back in there because you're going to have some crowd. You're going to have crowds in there. It's going to be crazy. And then
Especially when
Saturday,
you get to the boys semis and the boys championship game. If Pike Central wins out, man, shut the door down. All of Pike County will be there, except for the city of Pike.
Good. All right. Everybody's almost picking Johnson Central to automatically win the girls, but listen. Upsets have happened. We've seen it year in, year out. We've Pikeville's getting better. Lawrence County's been good all year. What's your thoughts about the 15th?
It's Johnson Central's to lose. I mean, they're the front runner, right? But now they are beatable. We saw them at Floyd Central in the 2A. Floyd Central had them within a couple points with like 2 minutes to go. And then it's just like somebody woke the girls up. I think it was Coach Hicks, and they took off and ended up winning by double figures. But honestly, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of good second place teams. I don't know if anybody can beat Johnson Central. I'll just say it.
You'll think Pikeville can? They haven't played each other, have they, this year?
They haven't played this year, but I just don't think they have the horses to beat them. I mean, they're my. I mean, they're all the same player. I mean, you just keep rotating in the same girl. All of them. I mean, they play the same style. They play hard nose, and he'll go 8, 9, 10 deep. I mean, his second five would start for a lot of teams in the region. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he just got a load of talent there. He's got a great program. Now, I'm a huge Sophie Atkins fan from down Lawrence County. Does she get hot and throw some miracle game up there and throw a bunch of points and they pull an upset? Yeah, it's possible, but I wouldn't bet on it.
Nathan, I'm going to let you ask Thomas some questions in a second, but I have one other one. How do you think Denise's first year has been at Pikeville?
Oh, listen, I'm a huge Denise Campbell fan. I think if Chandler Thompson's the best coach on the boys' side, I think she's the best coach on the girls' side. I just love how she does things. She goes about it professional. She's just a heck of a coach. I mean, if I could pick someone I would want my daughter playing for, that it would be Denise Campbell.
Yeah, she was a great coach at Pike Central and at Eastridge. Both
Eastridge, way back when she was at Eastridge. I mean, just first class all the way around.
All right, Nathan, you got any questions for Thomas about the boys and girls 15th?
Not really. Like I said, CJ, I mean, we could chat a little bit though, because I don't anymore. I just, when the 14th plays the 15th, that's when I get to see what the 15th is made of. I did watch 2 games of Johnson Central in the 2A tournament, the girls, and they absolutely just ran teams out of the gym. So I really think they're impressive. Hard for me to make a call either way. But I think it should be a good tournament. On the boys' side of things, it seems like, like bet money. I think, like you said, Martin County is looking pretty good. I really and the weight last year, I don't understand. Like Martin County, like they were on a big losing streak, and then just all of a sudden decided that they were going to start winning basketball games. I just really don't know what to make out of the boys' side. I feel like there's a handful of teams in there, and it's just going to get wild.
Oh, I agree. The knock on Martin County's, boy, Coach James gonna hate this statement, is their defense. I mean, they give up a ton of points. I mean, they're going to put a ton of points up, but they give up a lot of points too. We've covered them. We've covered all their home games, so many of the away games. Probably the best game they did was when they played South Charleston out of West Virginia, and they were up 16 points in the second half and ended up getting beat.
Early in the season, a handful of 15 teams came over to Hazard for their early season. What's it called, CJ?
DJ Bagley.
The Frank Bagley Classic.
The DJ Bagley
DJ
Classic.
Bagley Classic.
DJ Bagley Classic. And I thought crazy to me because I saw, I know just take Perry Central for instance. They played back to back. They played Belfry, lost to Belfry, then they played Martin County and beat Martin County.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just like, what's going on here? Because I was told that I had the wrong info. I was told that if Belfry is going to beat Perry Central, then they're going to have their work cut out for them against Martin County. But you just never know, especially early in the season.
One of the best games of the year that Perry Central's played. I mean, we probably hit in that game against Martin County. We hit, I think we hit like 14, 15 3-pointers in that game. Nathan knows this much as anything. Perry goes as far as their offense, and there's a lot of teams that we know is built that way. And like there's 4 teams in the 15th region that's built not with their defense. If they're shooting the ball well and they're scoring, they're a factor. But if they're not scoring and can't do anything, they're in trouble.
Well, that's tough. There's a lot of teams like that, and what's tough is in the regional tournament. I know I just said it to cool Kenny G in the 12th region, but it's hard to be like that for 3 back-to-back games against good teams. You know, it's if you've got one hole in your armor, you got one weakness. You know, teams are going to exploit that. You know, every night, and you're going to have to figure it out. You know, Perry Central. You know, you brought up Perry Central, CJ. Like against Hazard, the last game they played, I felt like, you know, Trayton did what he needed to do offensively, and they didn't have anybody else, you know, stepping up in the game offensively until late. And at that point, it was kind of, you know, things were starting already getting out. If you're down double digits to the Hazard Bulldogs, that's a death sentence for the most part this year for any team in the. I think the only team that I've seen come back on them down double digits was Harlan County, and Harlan County, that was in the WYMT Classic Championship, and they were down 10 like in the first quarter or something. You know, it's, you know, they did it over the course of a quarter and a half.
And that's the knock on Martin is the defense. I mean, they're going to put up a bunch of points, but if they're not hitting, could be dangerous. But hey, can I jump over and say something about the 14th for just a second?
Yeah, you got
shout out to Winston Lee over there at Jenkins. You know, Jenkins has been so good to us.
Cavs roll, baby.
And man, oh man, we were jumping for joy for them. Not that we was rooting against Casey Huff, our good friend Casey Huff, but you talk about a program that just has worked hard the last 3 or 4 years, and that work's showing off. So kudos to Coach Lee.
I am here for the Jenkins Cavalier state tourney run, baby. I am ready. Get me a green shirt. Before the season started, I know we were doing preseason stuff, and I kept telling people, I'm like, look, guys, I love Winston. I love what he brings to the table. I love seeing the excitement over in Jenkins, but I'm like, until they beat somebody, I'm not going to stick my head out and say, hey, this is the year. They're going to have to beat me to the punch, you know, because last year I was like what's the biggest win they had in the 14th last year? Somebody was like, I think Owsley County. And I'm like, well, see, that's not going to get me, you know, I'm not going to commit to putting you into the 14th region tournament if that's the case. And now this year they swept Letcher Central. They beat Knott Central in the district championship. They're in the tournament for the first time. I know I'm going to get these dates wrong, but it's for the first time since 2005.
Wow.
They won the district for the first time since like 1996-ish. And they are going to play Powell County in the first round, which what I think is a winnable game. And I cannot take credit for this statistic. It comes from Brian Milam, but if they beat Powell County, that would be the first Jenkins win in the region tournament since, anybody know?
No.
Probably 1974.
1968.
Yeah, I know it's been a long time.
1968.
Yep.
Wow.
And the thing is that Powell County and Jenkins have not played each other since 2009. No, I'm sorry, 2019.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's been a long time since they played because they were still in that's where they went and was shifted up to the 15th.
Well, we've gone more than a half of century without Jenkins winning a regional tournament game, and it is possible. You know, we're going to see it this week. I will be there, front row center, baby, front row center.
Yeah.
I will not be. Like I said, I'm eating some crow from earlier in the year, saying that I wasn't going to put the Nathan Little stamp of approval on a Jenkins regional tournament run, but get me a green shirt, get me a sword, and I'll follow you up.
All right, that's yeah. I want to see that. I can't wait to see that. I want to see the sword, the green shirt. I want to see that. That would be that'd be a great photo to have. Thomas, it's a pleasure always.
Hey, appreciate you guys as always having me.
Let me get you a plug here. Check out the D&D Sports Network. They're going to have they're going to get you from tomorrow night to next Tuesday or next Monday when the boys championship. No, actually it will be Tuesday because the boys championship game ain't till Tuesday. But they're going to have you every step of the way. Tournament is this year at Pike Central.
Yeah. And we need us to explain why. Can I take 1 second to do that?
You got a second.
The expo is being used. We got hit with devastating floods over here. I mean, just devastating, So the expo is being used by FEMA for housing, for supplies, all that stuff. And that's why we will be back at the expo next year, I'm sure.
Yeah.
As much as I would hope not, we will be back at the expo next year.
You never know what could happen. They could have a vote and everything could shift. You never know.
Absolutely.
Thomas,
CJ, thank you.
Bless you, my friend. We'll talk to you later.
All righty.
Have a good one. Thomas Rainey from the D&D Sports Network. Now joining us, Mr. John Henson, the man, the myth, the legend, Cat's Paws writer, Harlan County teacher, does all kinds of stuff in Harlan County sports-wise, but the main man when I go to when I need to know my info about 13th region sports or anything sports-wise, because he's going to know it more than anybody. John, it's good to have you with us.
Always good to be here, CJ.
Yesterday was a very intense day, more intense than ever. I think one person said it best. This is the 13th region tournament is an NCAA mini tournament in itself. Because, especially the boys' side, because you can almost say for the girls' side too, because there's 5-6 teams over there, and it's really good basketball. This is going to be probably the funnest week of basketball to ever be played at the arena. But especially with the boys' matchups, I mean, if you could, there's no way you could have wrote down and scripted this any better.
Well, somebody was pointing out it's one of the strongest fields ever, and as far as win totals, and I started thinking about it and looked at the bracket. All 8 teams have at least 19 wins. I've covered the regional tournament for 40 years now and been going for 50 years, and I don't remember a situation like that. Usually you'll have 1 or 2 teams with a losing record or 14-13, something like that. But you got 2 19-win teams playing each other Wednesday, so you'll end up with at least 7 teams with 20 wins by the time it's over. All 8 teams are very dangerous and capable of winning. I don't know about winning 3 games. That would be a little surprise for some of them, but certainly very dangerous and capable of beating anybody in the field. And it could be that. You never know until you get down there and start playing. But it's really tough to pick a clear favorite, and there's no real weak teams at all in the field this year.
Either side of the ball, boy or girl. I mean, look, north to the bottom down there. Listen, Harlan can play, Corbin can play. If you ain't coming ready to play, they can beat you on any given night. I know North probably is really good. I've seen them all year long, and but they do have some flaws, and they do have some points that people can take advantage of them. But everybody's going to be looking at if Central gets past their game and South gets past their game on the girls' side. Everybody's going to be looking at that one game, South North Central, because they know the winner of that game is going to, that right there is because that's the game that everybody's going to be watching. And South beat North, South beat Knox Central, listen, I love their team, and their guards are about as good as anybody that I would put their guards up against several boys teams because they're good.
Well, I didn't think there was any way anyone was going to beat North Laurel. I saw them play at Harlan a month or so ago, and they just demolished Harlan. Harlan's really good this year, and then I hear about North losing a game at Pikeville, and then they lose to South, and I was shocked. But I'm still going to be shocked if anybody but North or South wins the regional tournament on the girls' side. Knox has got a nice team, but I saw them lose to Corbin, didn't play real well in the 2A tournament, and they're capable of a great player in Collins, and Coach Warren's done a great job with them. I remember years ago when they couldn't win a game in the regional tournament, went forever before they did. And they're in the position now with a senior-dominated team to make a run. I think they're probably a contender. I saw Corbin play at Harlan. They were just horrible the other night. And, I'm sure it was just kind of a fluke situation where, Harlan ends up beating them by about 40. Coach Wilson, I think, got a little aggravated and took his starters out. And it got out of hand. But, they bounced back and played much better in the district tournament. So they get a rematch with Harlan. I think that's your best first-round game on the girls' side. The other three are pretty big deficits right now as far as going in. Anything can happen, but I think those other three games would take a big upset for anyone to knock off North or South or Knox. But overall, I think those two, maybe Knox also as a contender in the 13th.
I have to give your girls credit. Listen. They struggled all season. They struggled to win. They struggled. You look at the scores, but when they got in the tournament time, they found a way to win, and they found a way to be here. And now they get the opportunity to play here, and they deserve to be here because they found that opportunity.
Well, yeah, it was a pretty big upset to beat Bell County. Bell had won the last 5 district championships, but they'd won some tough games during the year, been close a few times. Really young team. Coach Greer, had such a huge role with the boys. Basically, since the school opened, he started coaching the second year with Coach Mike Jones, and then with Michael, and then with Kyle last year all the way to the state finals. And he's played a big role in that, and thought he was a good choice for the girls. But he inherited a team with 2 freshmen, 2 8th graders starting, 7th grader coming off the bench, several other 8th graders coming off the bench, no seniors at all. By far the youngest team in Harlan County history. They've been in the finals of the regional tournament 6 times out of the first 9 or 10 years. So they had a tremendous start to the program, but it's kind of been a little bit of a decline other than Ella Carse the last couple of years. And she's playing at UVA Wise now. So we knew that it was going to be a rebuilding year, but they've closed strong and a lot of potential for the future.
Yeah, and that has to make you feel good too, because you want to end on a good note, and they're going to end in the one place you want to end, down the regional tournament. That has to be confidence builder for them girls.
Well, that was kind of the goal from the beginning with Coach Greer. We talked about that, and he thought they had a chance to get there. I don't think they played quite as well as he hoped during the course of the year, but the girls didn't mature as quickly as you hoped, even though which is not a surprise when you're talking about middle school players. But they got a little tougher, a little more gritty as the year went on, and you could see that in the district tournament, and played Harlan pretty competitively there in the championship game too. Even though Harlan's a much more experienced team, Harlan beat them pretty badly the last game. Harlan County played them close earlier in the year, but a pretty good showing for the Lady Bears. And in Harlan, their best year since they won the region in 2017 with Jordan Brock. They've had a nice run now, 20 plus wins. Amani Wynn, Kylie No, 2 seniors have been around there for half a decade or longer. So it's nice for them to go out, to make it back to the regional tournament now for the second year and have a chance to win a game. Corbin and Harlan's a pretty good matchup, I think, in the first round.
Yeah, that will be a good matchup. I was like you. I studied that and I saw it. And I said that's a good matchup. I like that matchup. But like you said, Pineville's improved a lot during the year. John, they started off real slow. They didn't play real well early, but they came on like gangbusters the last month there and played some good basketball down the stretch.
Well, they were in a big hole early on. They lost Nadine Johnson, who was their playmaker, their best player, tremendous, one of the best athletes in the 13th region. She's playing in college ball in Florida, I think, somewhere. And they had to adjust a little bit. Started really bad, and then they got up around 500. Then they started losing. They lost a few games again, went through a little stretch, but then they beat Knott Central. They're late in the year, 14th region favorite, I would imagine. So that was a good win for them, and then they advanced to the finals. They lose to Knox Central, but they have a nice team. Several seniors, Arnett and Billiter, have been around forever. So they're dangerous. They got a bad draw, obviously, in the regional tournament, but they could play with North if they're there and hit some shots.
Yeah. All right, now to the big one. The South Corbin game the other night was the people that were there said it was one of the best district championship games they've seen in quite a long time. It went to overtime. South found a way to win it in the end. A lot of people felt maybe Corbin played much better than deserved to win the ball game, and South found a way to win the game in the end. They made enough plays to win. These 4 games right here, John, what's it going to take? Because it ain't going to come down to talent. It's just going to come down to will. Who's got the most will and who wants it the most? I mean, these 8 teams have been talked about all year long, and these are 4 of the best matchups I've ever seen. And I mean, just the first game tells you Harlan County, Knox Central. Technically, Knox Central is, Harlan County, they're playing better lately, but that first game just tells me what I need to know about the rest of the bracket. I mean, it's going to be pins and needles all the way through.
Yeah, some great matchups there, especially, Corbin and North playing the second game, and then South and Bell. You could argue that were the 2 best teams in the region for a lot of people's minds, I think, for a good portion of the year. And then Pineville coming on, having their best year in 10, 15, 20 years. Started looking, they won a game 2013, I think, in the regional, and then, of course, the 78 upset Kaywood. Before that, you got to go back to the 73, they were regional run up to Clay County, and then before that, the 40s. So this is a tremendous year for them, and I think 9 seniors. Someone said 10, but I just counted 9 the other day. But that's 2/3 of your team seniors, and to go out as district champions is big. And they have a shot. Clay County is always good. Clay beat them last year in the first round of the region, and really wasn't that competitive. But I think this Pineville team has grown up, and I think people are looking at that as also a game that could potentially go either way. If Pineville can match up with, I think, Clay's size and physical nature, it gave them problems last year, and whether they can match up there is going to be, I think, a big question in that game. But all 3 very competitive. Knox Central was the biggest surprise in the region last year, came out of nowhere and ended up in the regional semifinals with a really young team. They lost Chadwell to graduation, and I think that's taken an element away. And they've been a little up and down. I saw them play Harlan. Harlan had a 18-point lead in the second half, and Knox came back and won. But that wasn't a great night for Knox. But they beat Clay, I think, earlier, and they've had some big wins, and still a young team in a way with two freshmen starting. You got a couple seniors also, but a great young core of players that are going to be around for quite a while. Grayson Burton, certainly the top. I would say the top freshman, but Aikens at Corbin's awfully good too. I'm not going to say either one, but they're both among the top freshmen in the state, I think. And so some great young talent in this tournament, and then some great seniors with Maddox Huffin, Jordan Mabe, and on down the line, some tremendous players in the region this year.
usually you can take a tournament and you can look at it and you can go, okay, well, this game, not too much. Oh, God, I love this game. Let's talk more about it. Then they focus on one game. You can't do it in this tournament because you got to focus on all 4 games because all 4 games are going to be phenomenal. Then you get to the semifinals, and then if you get to the semifinals, you're going to have 4 teams there that's going to be like, oh, my Lord, it's like that's phenomenal. I mean, then the championship game's even going to be more because I think that this is a year too where the 13th knows, hey, we play the 14th in the state tournament first game. That's an opportunity to maybe get a victory and advance to the quarterfinals. But the 14th thinking the same thing. Hazard's been a strong team all year long over there. Who's going to beat Hazard? So far, nobody has. But I have heard people whispering that they would love to see a rematch between Harlan County and Hazard in the opening round of the state tournament, because that was what we saw in the WYMT Mountain Basketball Classic, a classic game between them two in the championship game, and a lot of people think that we could see that again. But before you can even get to that point, this 13th region tournament is just going to make one team earn it for the first. I mean, you got to win 3 games, and you're going to have to earn every one.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, last year Harlan County had a really bad draw. Ended up having to play South Laurel, I think a 4-point game, then play Clay County, the Jones brother matchup on Saturday afternoon, and that went down to the wire. And then actually the Corbin game ended up being the most decisive of all of them, even though Corbin, had a tremendous year and it was a good game. Harlan County pulled away in the second half, but they went through arguably the 3 other best teams in the region to win a championship. So, but it's going to happen again this year. Whoever wins is going to have to beat 3 good teams and really good. I love that Saturday afternoon semifinal. That's probably my favorite sports day of the year in our area. Always enjoy that, and no doubt you're going to have 2 great games this year. Sometimes that's the best day of the tournament, even better than the championship game. So, great field. And like you said, the 13th and 14th are both happy to draw each other. Both mountain regions. This year, I don't know if the 13th is as happy, but Hazard's been ranked among the top 5 or 10 teams in the state. But Harlan County did play them to a 1-point game in the YMT tournament. So I think both feel they could, that could go either way, or South or Bell or Corbin or North or whoever gets there. And that's a great thing for the mountains too, to have 2 teams play it, and knowing one of them will be in the quarterfinals, because that's been a hard thing to do, other than last year when Harlan County finally made that run and made it all the way to the finals. It's been tough sometimes for the mountain teams to advance.
This year's going to be more special though, because you're going to get the 2 boys semifinals on Saturday, and then you're going to come back about 2 or 3 hours later, and the possibility of having one of the best girls' championship games in the history of the 13 girls. Yeah. Depending if you get the 2 teams that everybody's thinking is going to be there. So this Saturday is probably going to even be more special than ever down there.
Could be, yeah, right. And barring some major upsets, you'll probably have that matchup on the girls' side, and then no doubt have 2 great games for the boys' semifinals.
I think one thing that's this tournament is it's not going to be the media coverage is going to come mostly from you guys in the 13th, because this is the year that YMT chose not. I don't know if they chose, but they're going to do the 14th girls and boys tournament, the whole tournament. So this year you don't have YMT over there. So does this take away a little bit of the mystery to people if they know if they're going to see it, they're going to have to go, because it's going to be hard to see, because a lot of streaming. Corbin has a lot of Arena has a lot of this and that you have to do, so it'd be hard to stream a lot of games. So if people can't be there, how hard is it going to be to see these games if you can't be there?
Well, I remember when you had to listen on the radio to hear the games if you weren't there. I went to the first one in 1976 at Union College. My dad drove to Barberville. So yeah, I would suggest being there is always the best way to handle it. But if not, I don't think there's going to be any streaming from what I've been told.
Yeah, when I was at WYMT, and that was, when I was at WYMT, which I left in 2017, 2018, we could only do broadcasts of the 14th region because the 15th region had a contract with the Expo, 13th region had a contract with the Corbin Arena, and it was, to get broadcast rights, it was obscenely expensive. And you already have to pay like a fee to the KHSAA or whatever. And sometimes there's a fee to the schools according to the policy board of the region. But it was just too expensive. And what KSR came through and subsidized a lot of that for WYMT, and they were able to do that. WYMT, though, they've not. They took a big hit in their sports department with the layoffs from Gray. So I think they're having Hometown 24. They're using them as kind of their broadcast crew. So they're doing it in the 14th. But that's something that I wanted to talk about, was because I feel like the 13th region, and I don't follow it as much anymore because I'm so, like I was telling CJ, we got 8 teams we cover in the, 54th district, boys and girls. Once you cover all those 4 teams for the radio, all those 8 teams, boys and girls, I don't get time to really go out and watch the 13th and 15th games anymore. But over the years, I felt like the 13th, there was a couple of years where, you had Reed Shepherd brought a lot of attention. KSR came over there, got a lot of hoopla surrounding it. So there was a lot of eyes on it. I know there was some social media stuff. And I remember a huge semifinals where you had some nonsense, but it was Corbin, Knox, and then North and South in the semis.
I was there that day. I was there.
And that was that. I mean, it was just a big deal. But I feel like this tournament, maybe doesn't have the eyes on it as some of those have did, but the fact that all these teams are so good, I think it might be the best tournament that the 13th has had in a long time.
Yep.
Yeah, it could be, more balanced probably. You don't have quite the, some of the star power, but, Maddox Up is still Mr. Basketball finalist, and he was an All-Stater last year. Jordan Mabe certainly in position to be an All-Stater this year, and some good young players, freshmen, and so it's going to be. I think it's going to be interesting. Unfortunately, you don't have daily newspapers anymore. That's where I started out, and you could read every day the stories and of the previous night. But now, even the Herald Leader and the Courier Journal don't do as much with it, unfortunately. Either you're there watching, or I guess maybe listening, and otherwise, it's going to be hard to keep up with it.
John, I've never been more excited for a tournament. I wish I could be over there. I would love, because that's where I would be. But I'm gonna be watching the 14th. So, but I'm gonna keep I'm gonna take a radio with. I'm gonna take my phone. I'm gonna take my earphones. I'm gonna find the radio station close to listen to every drop of the games over there. Because I feel like this could be a instant classic, one of those that people won't forget. And I think it's going to be whoever wins it is definitely going to earn it.
Right. Oh yeah. It should be fun.
Let me get a couple baseball questions, and I'll let you get out of here. What kind of teams Harlan and Harlan County going to have in baseball? I know we're not quite there yet. The teams are practicing right now. With the state tournament going to be a week later, baseball is going to start before the state tournament begins. So, what kind of teams are we looking at over there between Harlan and Harlan County on the baseball side and softball?
On the baseball side, I think Whitley and Corbin probably still your favorites in the 13th. Corbin with Kate Elam still around. Harlan had a great year last year. They got hot at the end. Some real good young pitching, and they're going to be probably among the top 5 going in this year with that experience back. Coach Fryer did a great job with them last year. Harlan County took a big hit with some graduation losses. Tristan Cooper's pitching at Transylvania now. He's been, one of their top pitchers for years now. So they're going to be rebuilding a little bit. They lost, I think, 5 or 6 starters last year. Alex Creek's still around, though. He's been one of their top guys for several years. So he'll still be there as a shortstop and pitching, but a little bit of a rebuilding situation. On the softball side, Harlan County girls have been getting better the last couple of years. They kind of started over. They have have a very competitive team, but Harlan again on the softball side, just a senior dominated team. Jackson at catcher, Listenby at third base, Farley at shortstop, Abby Fields at first base. All 4 of them, I think, have commitments to colleges already, and so they're a senior dominated team that won the district last year for the first time in several years, and one of the All-A favorites too. So they'll be right there. Of course, the Laurels are always very good in softball, but I think both Harlan and Harlan County could be very competitive this year.
Can't wait. I'm ready for some baseball. But we got to get back. We got basketball first. We got to get it in. So it's fun. One Trent, and one question, I'll let you go. Give me your first year grade with Trent, and I'm going to say that listen. I'm proud of what Trent's done this year. He's got an opportunity to play occasionally, and I think he's going to just get more and more playing time as he gets older. But talk a little bit about that.
Well, my wife reminded me the other day watching the game that Trent's not the only player on the team. I've never followed it this way before. I've never known anyone on the team. I've been watching UK basketball for 50 plus years. So I've become a little more like a parent now watching the games. I've been around Trent since he was in 8th grade, playing high school basketball for Harlan County. And it's definitely changed the way I've looked at it. He's had a great year. It took him a while to get a play, and I'm over here complaining like everyone else about not getting to play enough. But it's been fun having someone that on the team, and I think he's got a lot of potential with that experience now. His size, his shooting ability. He's had some great nights. Some nights where he's not went as well, but you expect that. He's made a huge jump going all the way from 13th region to the Southeastern Conference in 1 year. And actually getting to play now pretty much every game. So it's been exciting. It's been fun. And we're all looking forward to the next 3 years.
Yeah. I think the Jackson Robinson injury was big. I think that's going to hinder him a little bit. He was their best defensive player. And, I think, though, I was listening to KSR after the game. I do agree with one thing that Matt Jones did say after the game. If the kids on the bench want to play, they're going to have to bring some defense with them when they come out on the floor, or they're not, or they're just going to. Kentucky's going to have to play a 5 or 6 man rotation. That's it, because they can score every once in a while, but just scoring a bucket here and there, they got to be able to bring some defense with them. And I think that's where, especially when we're coming down the stretch, I think that maybe Trent and them, the bench players can. They need to focus on that, and then I think that's going to help them down the road.
Yeah, well, they've been a little up and down. They've had some huge wins this year already, and then some disappointments. But I think they're in position to make a run once they make the adjustments. Without Robinson.
Yeah, it's going to be. We'll have to, and I think Robinson did the right thing. Go ahead and have surgery now, because Robinson's going to be. Listen, he's going. I think he's going to be a draft pick in the NBA draft. And I think whatever team he gets on, he's going to make them a good basketball team. So he could have got another opinion, but I don't think that would have helped him none, and I don't think it would have helped UK none in the long run. So yeah. John, I wish I was you. You're getting ready to embark on what's going to be one of the best weeks ever in the 13th region down there, and my friend, I hope you enjoy every moment of it. We'll be watching Facebook and the 13th region media pages, and we'll be keeping up with it through there, local radio stuff. And but it's going to be a great week, and you enjoy yourself down there. And we'll be keeping our eyes on it down there, and we will talk to you very soon.
All right, good talking to you. See you soon.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. You have a good evening, John Henson from Harlan County, teaches over there. And does a good job. You know what, Nate? If I want, him, John, or Les Dixon is going to tell me what I need to know about 13th region hoops. But I'd already known more than I've ever known about 13th, because this is one region I have kept my eye on all year long, because Prairie Central's played some 13th region teams, Hazard's played a couple, some other teams have played some. So I knew about the 13th. I knew how competitive they were. I went over there earlier, watched a big panorama, a couple panoramas. Listen, they're great basketball there, and it's going to be a great week of basketball there at the arena.
Heck yeah.
Let's talk 14th. Now, this is your wheelhouse. Let's go girls first. I feel like that this draw really benefited Hazard. I think the Lady Bulldogs can get to that final. But now, I think Perry and Knott, if they can win their first round game, we saw them play back about a month ago. Perry was only down like a couple of points late in the first half, and they got outscored like 10-2, and that was ball game. And they did make a comeback, but they couldn't come. They was already that little 2-minute spurt was what was the difference in the game. And plus, if you win, you're going to get back the player that was from the one game. So, what's your thoughts on that?
I think looking at the bracket, I feel like Hazard. I feel like they did well for themselves in the draw. I think that's a really winnable game against Wolf County. Hazard has Perry's going to have Breathitt, and Perry a short-staffed Perry team is going to have to take on Breathitt, so they're not going to be able to overlook that game at all. That's going to be one that they'll have to win with Brooklyn Noble or Brook, and then you got the not possibly looking at you in the second round. So I think Hazard avoiding Perry Central and Knott is it's about as good as they could have hoped for in a draw like that. So I kind of feel like the way you feel. However that Perry Breathitt game goes, I really feel like Knott has proved himself to be, just a cut above everybody else in the region this year.
Now, I do think the Pollard injury really did hurt Knott, because it took their inside game and forced them to have to be guard oriented. And we'll get Mackenzie on here in just a moment, which she's going to join us now. I think that the big picture ticket there, Nate, is that we saw Hazard play Knott in the semifinals of the LA, and they had their chances of beating Knott. They probably should have beat Knott. They had them right where they wanted them. You was there. You saw the game.
I wasn't there.
Oh, you was not there? Who done that?
I wasn't there for that. It's a surprise. It's a surprise. But no, I wasn't. Was not there for that one.
I thought Nate was there.
Not many big games around here. No, I watched that one. Watched that one online. That was
your chances.
Yeah, I did the championships, but I didn't do the semis there. So, but yeah, either way it goes. I feel like, let me pull up Knott here just to make sure. In the region, CJ, they are 18-0. This year.
Much like Hazard's boys. What are they, 21-0 in the region?
Don't know, but I know there's an O beside.
I know there's an O there.
But here's the thing, we've seen it. Knott has been tested this year. They've been tested multiple times, and they've come out on top. But the region, you got to put 3 games back to back to back with against tough opponents, and we'll see what comes out of it. I feel like Knott, though, they were already a pretty good team, and then they only added Kyra McElorn as 14th Region Player of the Year. And look, they also don't sleep on Danny McElorn, the 7th grader that's coming out there, and she's as good of a ball handler as anybody around here. Doesn't seem like she's fazed by anything. I really like Knott Central in this tournament, and we'll see where it goes. But I have a hard time. I'm not going to say that it's a guarantee by any means, but I think smart money's on Knott Central right now.
That's probably smart. All right. Well, now
I just said it was smart, CJ. I said it was smart money.
Oh, I gave you credit. Come on.
I mean, come on now. Come on now.
Oh, Nate, I gave you credit. Now joining us is WYMT reporter Mackenzie Freeman. Glad you could join us. I know Armando told me to send you both an invitation because he said he didn't know if he would be able to join us or not because he had something to do tomorrow and he had to get up early. So I don't know. He may join us. I never know. So, but we got you here. You're going to help us break down the brackets, and we've broke down most of all of them. You were at the 13th region yesterday draw. That was your first experience. You can give us how the room was doing, how was everybody in there? It had to be a nervous place. A lot of chatter, a lot of it was like. Then the bracket comes out. It's like, wow, look at this.
Yeah, I mean, the 13th region, top to bottom, I don't think there was really a good draw for any of the coaches. I mean, you've got Harlan County in there, Clay County, Bell County. Harlan and Bell County have gone at it, I think, 3 times over the season, and Harlan County's won 2 of the 3, from what I've seen. But then, you get your Corbin, your South Laurel with Jordan Mabe. So, I mean, it was definitely a tense room in there. And, I think some coaches, won the draw for the first round, but, other programs, they're gonna have to fight every single game to get there. The 13th region's hard to pick a favorite. I can see really any of these programs going pretty far. I think in the championship game, it's a hard call, but I think you'll see Harlan County up against probably South Laurel again. I was at their game out in Harlan County, and
that's the first person I've heard pick 2 teams
for the championship rounds.
Yeah, nobody's picked 2 teams. So you're the first. So you think it's going to be a Harlan County South final?
Well, I mean, first round South Laurel has Bell County. So
Bell beat them.
If South Laurel, yeah, I mean,
that's a good. I mean, listen.
It's hard to pick 2 teams. That's kind of what I'm saying because South has Bell in the first round. If they lose that, then
yeah. I want to come back to the 13th because I want to focus on the 14th boys because there's the 14th boys is their tournament's going to come down to a segment. Nathan hit on it when we first come on the air. Perry Breathitt, not Hazard. Those are your 2 most crucial games in this first round. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. Not and Hazard. I'm gonna do it last, but we all know that for Perry to win, they're gonna have to shoot the ball better than what they did against Hazard. Plus, they're gonna shoot the ball better than what they did against Breathitt. Now, 2 weeks ago, they played down Jackson. Sperry had 28. But, it was a game of back and forth. When you get in the tournament, and Nathan knows as much as I do, shot selection is so important.
Yeah.
You cannot just jack up the first 3-pointer that you see and say, oh, hey, I was open. That ain't what this is about. You're going to have to be extremely patient, and you're going to have to patience is the word here in the regional tournament for everybody. Boys and girls from 12 to 6. Because Nathan, if I'm wrong, he'll tell me. You got to have patience. And I think if Perry shoots the ball well and they can hold, if Sperry gets his, they need to worry about guarding the rest of them. And they got to have, if Bo, that was his first game back from his injury. Bo's better now than he was. So I look for a much different Prairie Central team to come out there and play Wednesday night when they play Breathitt. Now, on the other hand, Knox played Hazard twice, and the game's not even close. But now, there's a difference between playing Knott in a one-game showdown on their home floor.
Yeah.
Because Casey's going to throw the kitchen sink and everything out there at Hazard. He's going to do whatever he can do to try to pull the biggest. I mean, I'm going to call it upset because anybody can win a tournament game. We've seen in the past. I don't call it upsets no more. I just call it if you beat somebody, hey, you was better that night.
Yep.
But let me ask Nathan first, and I'll get your opinion. What's it going to take for Knott to beat Hazard?
Hey, CJ, it's I feel like Knott is built to give a lot of teams trouble. They've not given Hazard trouble this year, any trouble this year. But here's the thing. Like Breathitt, Breathitt and Hazard have played 4 times, and a couple of times, Hazard kind of, there's at least one time in there where Hazard, really didn't have to do much. That second game, Hazard really led from start to finish. The first game, it was close for a while, but Hazard put it away late and put it away comfortably late. Had some, they weren't like, pressed down the stretch. They were just out there finishing the game up. Last time they played, it went into overtime. It was in Breathitt County. It's tough on the road. I get that. But any good coach, and I say this as Breathitt has lost to Hazard 4 times already. I've heard it a million times already, over the years. It feels like it's hard to beat a good team 3 times, and I think that's especially if you've got a coach that looks in the game film and you have a pretty solid, you got a pretty solid team, you got a pretty solid core of players, you play a team 3 times, one of those games, you're going to be in a position, within striking distance down the stretch. I feel like that's the case for Knott. Not really. The thing about Hazard, though, is, like if Breathitt, let's take Breathitt County. If you're playing Breathitt County and Sperry scores 0 points, let's say he scores 0 points, what do you think? Who do you think is going to be ahead at the end of that game? Is Breathitt going to be winning a game if Sperry has 0 points? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. If you're playing Perry Central and Trayton Woods has 0 points, are you, but what if you're playing Hazard and Evan Eversole has 0 points? Well, Seth Cottle might have 30,
Right.
They've got other options. They've got, who their leading scorer was in the district championship game? It was Nick Ratliff. Who's the second leading scorer in the game? Take a guess. Tucker Johnson. You're the stat man. I know you know this stuff. But Tucker Johnson, Hazard has off the bench. Hazard has Ridge Beverly, Kenyon Higgins, and Trace Kincaid. And I would bet those 3 players would start on basically any other team in the region. I don't. So to me, Hazard you have to turn them over, which they're not really that prone to do. But I've seen them do it in spurts. Breathitt County's done it to them. You got to turn them over. You have to catch them on a night where they're not shooting the 3-ball well, and you have to stay in front of, you can't let Eversole kill you, and you can't overcommit on it. Hazard's really good because you can't overcommit on Evan because Evan is so good at, there's a double team. Well, I'm going to swing it across the paint to Tucker for an easy 2. You can't, and a lot of teams just realize that Hazard, you have to play him honest. You can't really cheat. You can't give too much attention to any one person. You got to be able to guard them. I think Knott does about as good as anybody will at guarding them. They just have to be able to get stops. You have to be able to get stops, whether it comes from pressing them, whether it comes from, forcing them to take the shot you want. You don't want Seth Cottle, getting to the elbow and elevating for that jumper. You don't want Dalton Combs getting open for three. You don't want Tucker Johnson and Evanshaw down low. You have to play them honest and go at it. The only team that I've seen that's been able to throw something screwy at them is Danville Christian, and they had the benefit of two 7-foot kids. It makes life easier. If you have 2 7-footers, you can get away with a lot. But I think that game's going to be close, CJ. I really think Hazard Knot's going to be close. I don't see Hazard got the worst draw that they could get. When you're talking the first round, because you have to draw one of the losers. Mm-hmm. You can't draw Perry Central because you're in the same district. Mm-hmm. So you were either going to play Wolf, Powell, or Not Central, and they got Not Central. You know, so this is the worst draw they could have gotten, but that means you get the winner of what is it? Estill. Wolf
and
Estill.
We saw Estill and if Hazard was to win and Estill was to win, we saw them two play the last game of the regular season, and Hazard won by about 13, 14 points there. So that would be a rematch. So they've all played each other in this bracket, but the game that everybody's paying attention to is game one, Perry Breathitt, and the last game, not Hazard, because a lot of people feels that if Hazard can get by Knott, then they're going to the finals. But a lot of people will, I think a lot of people believes if Perry, listen, Perry goes as far as their offense, and everybody knows that. If they're shooting the ball well, it's going to be a fun night. Listen, you can let Sperry get points, but you can't let 2 or 3 others get double figures. And it's going to be fun. I think you're going to see every bit of this action on WYMT for the whole week, boys and girls. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So and Nathan will be there many nights. But okay, let's go to the other 2 tournaments. The 13th.
Just a second, because we talked about Hazard for so long, we didn't get to talk about the top half there. And you said it was the most.
Sorry, let's go back.
You said it was the biggest game. You said it was the biggest game. Let's give it some time here.
I'm definitely excited for Perry Breathitt first round.
Really that game, that rivalry, like Hazard Perry is a big rivalry. I get it, but I feel like the last several years that the big rivalry in the 14th has been Perry Breathitt. Because last year, what was the championship game? Perry Breathitt. Year before that, what was the championship game? Perry Breathitt. Year before that, what was the championship game? It was Perry Estill. But the big game that everybody was looking forward to was the semifinals between Perry and Breathitt at the Coliseum. It was a big deal. I really think I've got those in the right order. I don't know. I'm getting old, CJ. But either way it goes, I think it's a big rivalry, been back and forth. Hazard, the last 2 years, I think they've in the regular season had the better team in the region, but Breathitt got the best of them both times. They finish Perry off the first time. Perry gets them the next time. And now they play in the first round. And it's going to be a big deal. I think, and the last time these two played, I think it was over at Breathitt County, and it was a darn good game. Perry led some of it. Breathitt
led the majority of the game. Perry didn't really shoot the ball well. Sperry went off for 28. The biggest thing in the game was Braxton Terry had 14. The Cannon kid, he had 11. If they're getting double figures from 2 other people, then Breathitt County's pretty much going to probably beat you, because if Sperry's going to get 30 or more, then chances are you have to listen. You can't play Breathitt and match them bucket to bucket. If you try that, you're going to be out of luck, because it's not going to happen.
I think Perry can do that. I think Perry.
If we're hitting shots that you've seen us, if we're hitting shots, there's nobody can touch us.
I feel like the Perry Central Commodores offensively when they're all, like when they're all clicking on all cylinders, they're as good as anybody.
Yeah.
But it's rare occurrence that you've seen it happen all at once. And there's a reason for that, is because some of them just aren't as, they're not as guaranteed night in and night out as some of the other kids that, we've seen. I feel like Trayton Woods has, everybody was talking about, player of the year candidates, and it was, is it Evan or is it Austin, Eversole or Sperry? I feel like Trayton is right there with those guys.
I agree.
The first Hazard game this year, when they played at Memorial Gym, and it was like a 2-3 point game, and down the stretch, Perry was down 2. Mason they stripped the ball. Mason Sumner had a look at 3 that would have gave him the lead with like 40 seconds to go, and the place would have burned to the ground. Like, we may not have survived, CJ. That's how. But that's because, Mason Sumner was hitting shots. The Commodores had some help out there. And in that game, Bo Bacon, I think he had 5 fouls and 0 points, but he in my opinion, he did a great job defensively that game. And I think they just need a little more offensively to go. But I mean, I feel like Trayton is, like, in that game, he was literally unguardable. He was just crossing kids up, stepping back, hitting threes, getting to the rack. He's as talented as an offensive player in the region. If they've got several guys with Landon Miller, Mason Sumner that can hit threes. Bo can step out and hit the threes. Bo can finish above the rim. He can finish in the paint. They've got several guys coming off the bench. The Prater kid, I don't think, he's a freshman. He's a freshman, but he's freakishly athletic. He's going to be terrorizing the region for years to come. I think in this tournament, maybe, if they can get a few things out of him, there's just a few guys I feel like if they just get a little bit of contributions for it, they're going to be good defensively. They are undersized in the paint or whatever. You mentioned Terry and Gross put double digits on them each. I really think the key for Breathitt is going to be to get Braxton Terry involved. Yep. And I know he's the kid that you don't even really have to get him involved, because he's going to go after every rebound. He's going to go after loose balls, and he's going to pick them up around the rim and try to stuff it back in. I really would like to see them feed the ball to him and try to get him going early. Gross, I'm waiting for him to wake me up, because he had a big game against Perry Central in the regular season last year. And then, man, Perry ran Breathitt out of the gym in the championship game last year. And I've not mentioned Tyson Neese yet, but Tyson Neese defensively brings something else to the game. I think he's going to frustrate Breathitt County, especially after getting 28. They got 28 put on them by Mr. Sperry last time around. That's the game of the tournament, in my opinion. That's the big one. And I don't want it to be overshadowed. Again, I feel like the Jenkins Cavaliers are going to win. I'm making the prediction. I feel like they're going to win their opening round game against Powell County, and that would be the first Jenkins win in the regional tournament since 1968. So
wow.
60,
no, that ain't a wow. That would be a wow.
So we're looking at 70-ish years in the making.
I would look at 1960. When you say 1961,
68.
I was not even around then. I wouldn't think so, CJ. I wouldn't think so. I wasn't a thought yet. I don't know if my parents were dating yet. So, I think. Do you know who won the championship in 1968, CJ, in the 14th region? I've been doing research, baby. I've been doing research. Well, you have been. You go back that far.
It was Lee County. It was Lee County. It was their first of 2 regional championships in 1968, and their girls are back in the 14th region tournament for the first time in a little bit too. I know they won the All A a few years back.
First time in 7 years for Lee County girls.
So Lee County, and that might have been the year they won the
Let me
All
give you
A.
something. Let me give you something to chew on here.
Good, I'm hungry.
Well, then I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. If Martin County, Hazard, South Laurel, all three win their region, they were the three teams that won the region the year of COVID. They did not get to participate in the state tournament due to COVID.
Yeah.
So, but they did get rewarded with a regional trophy and regional championship because COVID happened 2 weeks later after the tournament was canceled. If I'm correct, those three teams, if they all three win their region this year, would be the same three teams that won when COVID first started. So
that'd be good because those communities deserve that.
So those three teams did not get the opportunity to compete for an opportunity that, because in a way that would be like justice for those three teams because COVID screwed everybody's life and messed up everybody. So, I mean,
right. Good for the communities, but I mean, that's, you still, those seniors, have, and I mean, well, I guess nobody from those teams, if you've not went back since, and you've not went back since, there's nobody from those teams unless they were like in 7th grade that got to go. And I know Hazard's not been back since because
Hazard's not been back. South Laurel's not been back. Martin County, I don't think they've been back. If they did, Martin County they went either 22 or 23, and I can't remember, but I don't think they did because I think Pikeville went for. There was a stretch where Pikeville went a couple of times. I think Shelby Valley might even win. But we look at these three tournaments, and everybody focuses more on the 13th than they do the 14th, 15th. But most of our thinking with you, Mackenzie, is we want to know your thoughts. Not on the 13th. We already know we're fully aware of what's going on over there. But like Nathan just gave you a full breakdown of the 14th boys and girls. A clean breakdown. And in the 15th, all you need to know is they're back playing in the high school gym this year for the first time over 8 years. It's going to make a huge difference because it's going to bring the level of play to a different level.
I talked to a couple of coaches about the switch to the high school, and they were saying, they think the atmosphere is going to be more electric because obviously smaller venue, more people pack in from whatever schools they're from. A lot of coaches are a big fan of this for the 15th region. I think that's going to be really exciting. And plus, I mean, it's cool for the teams to, say, we're the first team in 20 plus years to play, back in a high school. So, but the 15th is interesting. I think as far as the bottom side of the boys bracket, I think Martin County has a pretty good chance of making it to that championship round. I mean, they dominated in the districts, and then I think as far as region goes, I know that they're pretty good. Yeah, 13-2 in the region. So there's a little bit of beat up in the 15th region. But I think Martin County, the way the draw happened, they have a good chance of making it to the championship round. And then the top side of the bracket, that's loaded. I couldn't even tell you who I think is gonna make it to the championship on that top side because game one you have Pike County Central versus Paintsville. That one's
crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, Armando was at that draw, and he said a lot of the coaches on that top side of the bracket weren't necessarily happy with their draw because it's so heavy loaded on that top side of the bracket.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, listen, this is going to be one fun week, and let's break it all down. Okay, you'll be able to watch every game of the 14th region boys and girls. regional tournament starting tomorrow night. WYMTV. You can watch it on WYMTV Heroes and Icons. You can watch it on WYMTV.com. You can watch it on all the streaming networks that WYMTV has. Tomorrow night, the girls will get action. It will be game one will be the Engineers of Estill County versus Letcher Central at 6 o'clock. And then the nightcap will be the Hazard Lady Bulldogs and the Wolf County Lady Wolves. And then, of course, if you want highlights from the girls, first round games in the 13th and the 15th and the 12th, state sport. There'll be a sport. The sports will be on during the newscast, probably like it was this week. He'll probably come on after the weather, like he did, have an extended sports cast. So Armando will. So you'll be able to get your highlights of all these games from 12 to 15. And even the UK's final two games, the women, UK women ended up getting a number 4 seed in the SEC tournament. So they do not play until Friday. Put up a good effort today, though, against South Carolina. They ended up losing. The South Carolina pulled away late, but it was a 4 or 5 point game all the way through the fourth quarter. South Carolina put them away, but UK showed a lot of guts today down in Columbia. So, anything you want to say, Mackenzie, before we let you go? I know you guys got a big week, a lot going on, and as I said, you can watch every game of the 14th region on WYMTV.
Hey,
Yeah,
CJ,
I mean,
let
as
me
you
cut in
mentioned-
on. Just say it. CJ, I know you're trying to impress Mackenzie here, but you can watch it on WSGS too.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
I'm not.
I mean, what are you? I mean, I'm right here, CJ. You're going to disrespect me to my face. You're going to be like, no, don't listen to Nathan. Don't listen to Nathan. Don't watch Nathan. Watch WYMT. I'm so upset, CJ. I'm so upset.
They can watch your stream of the game as long as they come back to us for highlights at 11.
I'm a former WYMTer. I'm down for the WYMT shenanigans. But happy to see WYMT in the 14th and not the 13th anymore for the tournament here, because they've left us out for a few years. But I'm sorry, Mackenzie. I'll let you finish. My bad.
No, Nathan.
Yeah, CJ's already touched on it. This week is just going to be a fun-filled week of basketball. As an ex-basketball player, I love it. And then as someone who's come from Texas, which is more about football, I love what I'm seeing in Kentucky high school basketball. It's just going to be a fun week.
Oh, well, you wait till football season starts. That's when you're going to be even more impressed, because football's king around here, but when it's football time. But Mackenzie, thank you so much for being with us. We will see you throughout the week. I think you're going to be down to 13th most of the week.
Yeah, most of the week.
Yeah, and I think Armando said he's going to be at the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the games they'll be doing them on YMT. Mackenzie, thanks so much. You guys have safe trips to your games this week, and check in the newscast at 11 o'clock each night for the highlights of every game in each region, and we'll see where we're at. Mackenzie, you have a good one, and we'll talk to you later.
You too.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you. This is Freeman from WYMTV. Let me get my final thoughts here, Nate, and we'll get out of here. I want to thank everybody. What a great show. As always, I want to thank our guests, Kitty G, John Henson, Thomas Rainey, and Mackenzie. I also want to thank everybody for watching us and leaving comments and things. I want to remind everybody that I will be back with you next Sunday night. As of right now, I don't have no guest or a co-host because I'm trying. I would love to have all 3 regional girls coaching champions on the show next week if I could. So I'm gonna wait a little bit, see how that works out. If not, I think I can get some guests at the last moment. People are pretty good to work with me. If I have to, I may not have a show. I'll let you guys know, but I'm planning to have one Sunday night, 8 o'clock. We'll talk about the girls' Sweet 16. Get you ready for that. We'll get you ready for the UK, the SEC tournament. We'll get you ready for the rest of the boys championship games and stuff, and then go from there. I'll also remind you, go to my Facebook page. I want you to like the CJ Howard Sports Talk page. I want you to share it with everybody. Also, I want you to go to my YouTube page. I want you to like it and subscribe. Also, I want you to follow me on TikTok and join me there as well. Okay, Nathan, give me your final thoughts and we'll get out of here.
Hey, ready for another big week of basketball here. This is, all year long. Football season is not that bad. It's just Friday nights, but basketball season, it's always, especially me having kids, it's always a tough time of year to get out and do all these games. There's weeks where I think there was 1 week I had 6 games in 1 week. A couple double headers thrown in there, but throw in 6 games in 1 week, and then got a little girl cheerleading. Now she's playing volleyball. My little boy played flag football. Just a wild time of the year. But this week right here, region tournament for boys and girls, and then the subsequent state Sweet 16s. To me, it makes it all worth it. All the running around, and you just get to roll up and have fun and see some kids, make some memories that they'll never, that they'll never forget. They'll never forget, for better or worse, for some of them, because only one team in the 14th, boys and girls side is going to go to Rupp. There's only one that's going to make it, and we'll see. I always enjoy seeing who it is. It's never. I'll say this, CJ. For the last, let's say, I've picked the 14th region winner every year since 2018. 2018, I've not missed it since 2018, before the season started. I pick it before the season starts. I've not missed since 2018. My pick this year was Hazard. We'll see where it goes. The last 2 years, things got a little screwy, though. Last year, I picked Perry Central before the season started. Then they had a rough year in the middle of the year and had to go on a run late. The year before that, I picked Breathitt, and they got off on a rough start, which they had, God rest his soul, they had a coaching switch and had to go from Coach Noble to BB King, and he's no longer with us. Then they had to figure out what to do. Ended up with a football coach as a coach, but he got it done, so I've felt the pressure. I felt the pressure the last couple of years, and Hazard, this seems to be like they may treat me right this year. I don't know. We don't play them on paper though.
No, we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be a great one. And you can, like Nathan said, there's lots of places you can watch these games, listen to these games. So just tune in to your favorite element place, whether it be radio or TV, and we'll have all the play-by-play. All right, Nathan, nothing else. Let's get out of here. Don't leave me yet, so we'll talk to you after we get off done with being live. Get on. I'll be back with you next Sunday night with another edition of the CJ Howard Sports Talk Show. Now, this is CJ Howard, reigning third, heading for home. And as Casey would say, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for those stars. I love you all. God bless you, and good night.